We're gonna do our ohms again. Boy, you get your ohms on Sundays, don't you? Um, right after we do the ohms, I just kind of want to set you up a little bit here so that you know that I'm going to ask you some questions. Please, if you want to respond, Ruby's here to take your questions and we can talk about them a little bit about your meditation practice. And don't be saying to yourself, what practice? If you're here, you're practicing, okay? All right, so let's do three very sincere, very in the moment, present ohms. Oh. 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 So we have been talking about balance, and we want to continue that on into our meditation practice, because balance is everything. To be centered, right? We talk about meditation centers us. Center is balance. It's another word. We use the word center, but it's always about balance, because we're always moving. We always have highs and lows throughout the day, through the night, even when you sleep, right? You can have a part of your night where you're struggling, and part of your night where you're completely restful. So everything's always changing. The increments of how we do things is always changing, which is why it's very important that we practice being centered, because everything is always changing. Everything's always on the move. The quality of the air, the quality of the water, the quality of our speech, the quality of everything is always subject to how it's mixing with everything else, because we're always in relationship to everything. Our mind is in relationship with our body is in relationship with our mind, with one another. So by learning to practice stillness, then we have a better opportunity to be in balance, because we practice movement all day long. Let's go. Okay, you got to do this. Where's your list? What's that? Da da da. We're always practicing movement to the point where it becomes excessive. So what we want to do is also practice stillness. And you can practice stillness in movement. But it's about helping yourself to learn to clear your mind in anything that you're doing. So we all know that when you're driving, how sometimes your mind can wander, right? Has anybody not had that experience? Or suddenly it's like, whoa, 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 whoa. Okay, don't think about that. You got to just drive. Might not have been a close call or anything like that, but you're aware that you were in your mind so much that it was creating an imbalance, right? It's how people can hit another person from behind very easily, just like, oh, didn't see that, because we're inside watching the inner movie. So it's not like you're watching your phone, because when you're looking at your phone and you're driving, it can have the same effect as watching the inner mind, as the mind's telling you stories and projections about what's going to happen during the day. It becomes so vivid in our mind that we literally don't see the people in front of us. So that's important to remember, because with meditation, we're helping ourselves to be so aware of how our minds work, so that we can have better self-control over our mind, so that we're just not reacting. We want to learn to respond, but lessen reactions, right? So it's about being aware of your rhythm, being aware. One of the things, like with meditation, it's all about awareness, being aware of yourself. What are you thinking right now? So let's just take just a moment. And I want you just to be really, really quiet and just feel your mind. You don't even have to close your eyes if you don't want to. Just feel your mind. My mind went to my heartbeat. Why? I don't know, but there it was. Where's your mind? What does it want to focus on? What do you have to keep bringing it back to center about? Now take a nice deep breath in. Release that breath. And come back. See, that was very, very quick. All we did was take a little check in. Where was your mind? Was it thinking about the day? Was it thinking about yesterday? Was it thinking about what we were just doing an hour ago, some of you? Like I said, mine went straight to my heart. I could actually feel my heart going boom, boom. So it's important for us to know, where's your mind throughout the day. One of the things that you can do is just stop and ask yourself, where is my mind? You can say, what am I thinking? But it's not so much about that, because sometimes we're not thinking, sometimes we're feeling or we're intuiting. The mind does other things besides just producing thoughts. It can be very, very still and receive information, right? And it can come in one end and out the other. Don't have to hold on to any thought that comes to you. So I want to ask that you ask me a question, if you like, about meditation or your meditation practice. Just send it to Ruby, and we will answer your questions as we go along. Because meditation is one of those things where there's really nothing to talk about, but yet there's everything to talk about. Because meditation doesn't require any sort of talking, we don't have to have any sort of conversation with it at all, about it, with it. Oof. Meditation, we want to remember to go from bad thoughts to good thoughts to no thoughts. You'll hear me say that again and again and again, because everybody wants to sit down and go straight into meditation. And your mind might have all kinds of cluttered thoughts that would be considered bad thoughts. It doesn't have to be like that level of bad. It can just be cluttered thoughts, scattered thoughts, discombobulated thoughts. Those would be considered bad thoughts. And then you sit down to have no thoughts. Oh yeah, see, that won't work. That's why we talk about, you can read something very deep, something that's spiritual, read just a paragraph of it and let yourself ponder on that, so that you can remove yourself from the bad thoughts and focus on good thoughts. And then from there, perhaps you can even get a little rest, which would be no thoughts. It's like when you go to sleep at night. If you have a bunch of bad thoughts, cluttered thoughts, you can't get straight to sleep. So you do what you can to find where there's those good thoughts, so that eventually you can go into relaxation. And I always use this example too. When people aren't feeling well, you don't shout around them, whether they're having a physical pains or mental or emotional pains. We respectfully speak quietly, slowly.
How to let go of obsessive thoughts.
So somebody asked how to let go of obsessive thoughts. Well, the first word I'm going to say to you is practice. Okay. Now that that's out of the way, we can talk about this. So obsessive thoughts. Now, let me see. So we have these thoughts, and they start to move a little bit faster. Why do they start to move a little bit faster? Chances are good it's because we're projecting ourselves into the future. Well, I want this to happen, and if I do this, will that happen? Well, how will this? And we're projecting all kinds of fear into the future. I don't know if I'll have enough money for that. And what if this goes out? And what about this? And So we're like projecting out into the future all kinds of things that we don't even know if these things are going to happen or not. But we're so involved in it because what happens is it starts to create a momentum. Fear has momentum. You didn't expect me to use the word fear probably, but obsessive thoughts are usually traced back to fear. So anxiousness is fear. Anxiety, high anxiety, medium, low, fear. Stress, fear. Worry, fear. Nervousness, fear. All of these things, we just don't use the word fear because we want to say, I'm not afraid. I'm anticipating it, but I'm not afraid. You see, we have this aversion to the word fear or afraid. But obsessive thoughts get very caught up in fear of I won't have this, fear I will fail, fear I'll come up empty. Obsessive thoughts are not usually about ah, you know? So obsessive thoughts are always stemming from fear. So one of the first things that we got to do to help ourselves reduce obsessive thoughts is to begin to have faith in our own self. You have you 24/7. You're the only human that you have all the time, everywhere. I say that because we forget we have us. We're busy asking everybody for advice. I'm going to ask all my friends what they think about this, and I'm going to ask all of these people over here and see what they have. And now you have so many opinions. Now you just don't even know what to do. Now you're obsessing on making a decision, afraid that you're going to make the wrong decision because everybody else said this and this person said this, and now you can't let it go. And what about tomorrow? And then the day after, and now you're going so fast. Feels like that, doesn't it? So.
Other question. You know how everyone says you should focus on your breath, but can you also focus on listening, just listening to what's around you?
So the question is, everybody tells us to focus on our breath,
Mhm.
but can't we listen to
Can you also focus on listening?
can you
What's
also
around
focus
you?
on listening?
What's around you?
What's around you? Yes, absolutely. So let's put these two questions together. So obsessive thoughts, you're not going to be able to listen to anything that's inside of your mind or what's going on around you because you're in a race car and you're either running to a fire or running away from a fire, but it's high speed. So we're going to keep coming back to obsessive thoughts because it's going to run into everything that we talk about today. Okay. So know that obsession is really fast and it gains momentum and it burns us up so we don't have clarity. Focusing on our breath is really a good thing to do, of course, because if we're suffering from some mild anxiousness that's going on, focusing on the breath can bring us back into that place. Because I love developing intuition, I do practice listening. Doesn't mean I'm the best listener, but I practice it. It's practicing listening to sounds without getting so distressed by them. Because we're not all going to be in a place where it's just these sweet little birds that are chirping and a little bit of a breeze blowing, you know? We can be in households where everybody's talking and doing all kinds of things, be at work where there's lots of chaos and things. And it's very difficult to listen. But if you want to begin by listening to your breath, that's a place to help you to remember that you live in here. Sounds weird, doesn't it? But you live in your body. feels like when we're with other people, it feels like we're living with them because we're picking things up from them all the time. But with intuition, what you want to do is you want to practice being empty. And emptiness is really big here in your ears. So we can't always be in a space that's beautiful to listen to. Quite often, we're in spaces where that beauty is bare minimum. There could be shouting, there could be ugly sounds, there can be jackhammering going on. We can't all every day take a trip to the mountains and listen to the silence of the aspen trees when the wind goes through them is one of the most beautiful sounds. I feel like it is. And those sounds, when you do get to hear them, they move you into silence almost effortlessly because the natural world, you in that moment have remembered that you too are of the natural world. You're not just the car you drive, the job you have, the bills you pay. No, you are part of the natural world. So if you are in a space where what you can do is listen, of course. If you're in a space where everybody's going crazy, you have to like practice centeredness so you can listen to your own thoughts above all others. And you don't want to have a lot of chatter because if you're in a situation where you can feel yourself getting upset or drawn into something, maybe at a meeting, like people have meetings in their offices and they can get very upset with what's going on, what's being said. Or you could be watching CNN and hear all about what's going on out in the world. That could make you really upset too. Well, there you can just turn it off, but the memory of what you were just listening to is still going through your head. So to get really, really quiet, it's always a good idea to bring breath into it. You don't have to focus 100% on your breath. Just be aware that you're a living, breathing being and slow everything way, way down. If you have the ability to slow your breathing down in a meeting where people are almost hyperventilating, you have done something miraculous. You've really done something beautiful. And that means that when all that's not around you, you can go and you can sit even in your car and then listen to the quiet. And it'll carry on for you. One more question we have.
Yeah. Living with integrity can be a bit challenging in the world we live in today, especially as we see false images and branding. Is this part of the Kali Yuga? How do we cope with the chaos and challenges as they continue to grow?
Okay, so the question is about all of the challenges that we have and all the chaos that's going on, and how can we be at peace?
Yeah, in the Kali Yuga,
In the
when
Kali
everything
Yuga.
seems so fake.
Exactly. So the word integrity, this question is about the word integrity and how can we maintain our integrity when there's so many false images of all kinds of things that are all around us. And that is what we're going to be focusing on for this entire month, is to really understand that we too cast an image. You know, a person can be so out of balance that the only thing that they're concerned about is their image. But images are not integrity. Integrity is a very different thing. Integrity is like what we were talking about before a little bit. It's about being more of your true authentic self. Now, somebody can say, my true authentic self right now is pissed off. Okay, that happens. But we see that everywhere because it's easy to accomplish. Any of us can have a temper tantrum about what's happening out in the world and do. No integrity in that. It's important for us to see what is really real. And what is really real? It has to do with the integrity of the moment. Practicing being your true, authentic self. That sounds like it's I don't know, it's been an overused phrase, I think. But the reason I'm saying it to you is because being really upset and angry and gossiping all the time and all these different things that hurt one another, this is not authentic either. People will say, well, it's authentic how I felt in that moment. That's not what I would qualify as our authentic self. It is a reaction, but not our authentic self. Our authentic self is our spiritual self who does not take pride and joy in telling someone off. That's not your authentic self. That's your reactionary self. That's yourself that you're showing because you forgot how to be authentically at peace, how to be balanced, how to be centered. Like I was using the example before, a lot of people have aging parents and people are taking care of them more than they ever did before. And a lot of people feel very imposed on it by that. And I understand that. So I guess we could say that's an authentic reaction. But we're talking about in terms of being our authentic self. Our authentic self is our spiritual self. So it's about being there, knowing that, oh my gosh, I'm really having a hard time mentally and emotionally doing this task of helping my mother who has dementia. It's really hard for me to stand here and do this because she's off the wall today. She's angry. She doesn't know this. She doesn't know that. This is really, really hard. And now she's acting up. Is she really acting up or does she have dementia? It's very difficult to be in a situation like that, especially with someone that you've always looked up to. And now suddenly that person doesn't show evidence that they're that person anymore. So whatever it is that you're going through, it's very, very difficult. And you need to remember that she hurts and you hurt. The most authentic thing that you can do at that moment is to come to your own rescue. Because you can't do it for her, but you can, when you come to your own rescue in that moment and you're like, I'm here to serve her right now. Yes, I've got places to go later on, but I'm right here, right now. And I need to be fully here right now because that's the most authentic thing that I can do. And by practicing that, you're practicing self-control. You're practicing peace. You're practicing balance. You're practicing being in the moment, practicing presence, awareness. You're choosing self-control, choosing to practice self-control. And by doing that means you chose love. You chose love for yourself and you chose love for the person that you're serving. It's perfectly understandable and legitimate if you have a bad moment with it. Observe that, see yourself doing it, and know, wow, it's so easy to get out of control. I got to get myself back to center. Observe it. Don't shame yourself. Observe it and come back. keep coming back. So following your breath back home, then talk to her again. That way, the room takes on your essence because you're putting forth so much energy to practice peace that it is actually reverberating through you out into the atmosphere. And whoever it is that you're giving service to will benefit from that. It's not easy to do what I'm saying to you. It's much more easy to fly off the handle, but you will suffer greater for that because the effect of that causes bad things for us, makes our body jittery, makes us really feel like, why is this happening to me? It makes us feel superior, like our lives are supposed to be easier. This is why this saying is so popular now. Oh, first world problems. Hmm. There's a reason why that's there. We all have problems. And people say, well, I don't want to be thinking about everybody else. You don't have to. You have enough problems of your own. I'm suggesting that you use your own humanity to uplift yourself. So integrity means not going against your heart. Integrity is always a function of the heart. Always. No exceptions. And I'm not talking about that wonderful organ that beats in your body. We call that heart, of course. I'm talking about your spirit, your soul, who you really are, and really letting that part of you shine. Because remember, one of the hardest things is to really be who you are, not be what you think everybody else wants you to be. And do you really want other people to be a particular way? And if you do, is that self-serving? Because don't you want them to be who they really are? They'd probably be more fascinating to you if you would allow them to be who they are. So meditation is something that you, after you practice it for a while, you begin to crave it. You do. You want it. You want what it gives you. You want that inner strength. You want that stability. You want that mind that has a cleanliness to it, which means it has order. It's a mind that wants to serve. It doesn't feel put upon because I have to take the groceries in for my grandma because she can't lift them. You're going to do the same task. You can take yourself over, pick the groceries up, and put them on the table, and be grateful that you got to serve someone. I know it sounds crazy, doesn't it? So old fashioned. But I don't know that it was ever in fashion. We all act like this. We always have. We're all trying to be better, even though it doesn't appear to be. I think it's important to remember that people are in all kinds of situations all over the world right now. And instead of like focusing on how bad and how um, unfair it is, I think it's far more productive to practice within yourself to be very, very quiet and dedicate that quiet to them. There's a lot of people that live in countries that are at war right now. And one of the best things that you can do for them is to be completely quiet, even if it's for 1 minute. And you dedicate this to help to alleviate the suffering of all sentient beings, all those that feel. At the end of your practice, you can say that every day. I offer out all that I have received to help to alleviate the suffering of all sentient beings. And this takes us into this awareness that we are so grateful that, yes, we are in a first world country. And we do have first world problems, and they still are problems, and they still hurt. And there's people in second and third and probably even fourth world countries at this point. So I say that to you because we have to get back to gratitude. Gratitude is a lot more than just having a list of things that you're grateful for. It's a very deep place of love, and it motivates and changes our actions. So when you meditate on these words, like we have the word for the month, when you meditate on it, when you take the word gratitude and you become it for 30 days, it's very helpful because you begin to understand that gratitude is not only about thank you for my food, which is a great thing to be grateful for. Thank you for the air that I breathe. Thank you for my beautiful family. Thank you for my home. Thank you for my job. Thank you for my paycheck. Thank you. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. But the meditation that's even deeper and has deeper, profound effects is to meditate on the gratitude of what you went through, what you went through last year, what you went through 10 years ago, what you went through a long time ago, that those images still haunt you. If you can find a place of gratitude in what you learned from it, what you received from it, what kind of strength you received from it. This is the most profound level of gratitude because this is very hard to do. And if you have gone through things that you have no gratitude for it whatsoever, I get it. I'm not saying you're bad or wrong. Not at all. I'm just suggesting that you experiment with it now and again until you start to feel a little spark of, I feel a little bit better. I do. I feel a little bit better. And don't let it go because that little bit of feeling better, that can turn into a banyan tree and give you shade and provide for you in the future. Gratitude is life changing when you meditate on it. And it's not easy. It's only easy to be grateful for the things that are apparent. And that's a good thing to practice. But when you're sitting, you have a sitting practice, and you're going to sit for 10 minutes. You don't have to just sit and do this. You can sit and help yourself to feel gratitude. Feel it. Even right now, close your eyes. Feel gratitude. Feel the deepest power that is inherent in gratitude. And let it move through you. It's never easy to be grateful for what we're going through. So, as you're going through something that's very difficult, help yourself to really focus on that you're grateful that you have awareness, that you can do better, that you are doing better. We can always be grateful that we have the awareness that peace is always present. It's not as simple as just choosing it. You have to choose it and take care of it, just like a loved one. But as we choose peace and we do take care of it, it becomes a loved one. And gratitude is this deep, deep emotion that helps us to remember that we're all the phoenix bird. We all arise out of the fire. Take a nice deep breath in and release this breath. And remember right now, offer this out. Let us kindly together offer this moment of silence out to help to alleviate the suffering of others. To all sentient beings, we pray that our efforts help to reduce suffering. This kind of practice you could do anywhere. If you go someplace and you're just shopping, or maybe you're at a park or something, and you just see some people that are struggling in some way, by the time you get back to your car, send them some peace. Focus on gratitude that you have enough peace inside of you and the awareness that you do, that you're willing to give it to others because you know that it regenerates itself. Peace and love, the more you give it away, the more it regenerates, the quicker, the stronger, and the more pure it is. It's not for the keeping, it's for the giving. Giving and giving and giving. And you see, when we have obsessive thoughts like everybody does, it's very difficult to be able to get to the space that we are right now. But the first thing that you need is to have this place where you care for you, that you know that you've become, whatever the obsessive thought is that you've become so frightened by it that you're feeling fear in every part of your body. Because obsessive, it means right now it's everywhere. You're feeling it in your feet, you're feeling it in your stomach, you're feeling it in your eyeballs, you're feeling it everywhere. Won't let you sleep. It's hard to eat. You have upset stomach if you eat. It's on all parts of your body because it's a mind, it's in your mind. Remember, the mind and the brain are sending these signals throughout your entire body to be afraid. Afraid, afraid, afraid. But we don't say that because again, we have this thing where we don't want to admit to fear because somehow or another we've associated that with fear. I mean, with weakness. Nobody's a weakling because we're afraid. That'd make us all that way. Awareness makes us strong, though, makes us be able to overcome the fear. If we can be obsessed with fear, we can certainly develop a sound, good practice on strength, on courage. Courage. When's the last time you used that word? When's the last time you put that into conversation? Well, I know it's going to take some courage to do that. And somebody else may say to you, courage? It's just a new job. Takes courage for you because maybe you have a hard time. Maybe you're an introvert. And this new job's going to requires you to be in front of people more. It will take courage and faith in yourself and commitment. You see why we have these words for the month? Commitment. We have to be committed. It's a virtue. Commitment is a virtue. Obsessive thoughts are something that plagues every single person in varying degrees. And it's very, very painful. But it's because they've become too fast and they're too wound around one another. And it's like jewelry that gets wrapped around itself. It's hard to disentangle from it. But if you're committed to reasoning out that it's okay for you to forget what you're thinking about in that moment, That's a big deal because obsession doesn't want you to forget. No, I've seen romantic obsession in my practice with people that can take the most stable, grounded, beautiful human being and turn them into almost a monster. Obsessive thoughts, they take our true self away from us because they act like a big bully, taunting us, telling us how bad we are. You better run a little faster. Da, 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 faster, faster. It's going to get you. You're going to fail. Whatever it is, it's horrifying. And it's very difficult to remember that you are not that. Very difficult. And it's worth every single ounce of effort that you put into it. And if you're committed to the present, you will change your future. If you're not committed to your present, your future is still going to have all those obsessive thoughts in it. But even right now, we can practice let it go, and understand. Have mercy for yourself, have compassion for yourself, because you're going to be like, I am letting it go, and I can't do it, I can't do it, I can't do it. Well, no, not that first time, not the 10th time, not even the 100th time. But what you're doing the first 100 times is starting to get used to the commitment to having faith in yourself, the commitment to coming to your own rescue, the commitment to change, to become more grateful, more at peace, to come back home and stop living in other people's minds and trying to change how they see you. You don't want them doing that to you. You don't want someone coming visiting your mind, trying to get you to change how you see them. You don't want that. Obsessive thoughts plague every single human on the planet. We all caught that virus. And now we all have to work to build a strong immunity against it. And it's one of the best things is be learning about the connection between how we think affects every part of our body. This body is inert. It won't do anything that you don't tell it to do. There are people say, no, there's people who have uncontrollable. And that's true. There's something wrong there, of course, with the brain, right? The signals are not getting there properly. Because of that, we have to be very careful when we talk about these things, because it doesn't mean that they've been bad and we haven't been. Really. Mm-mm. These things are too deep for us to really understand. It's best to observe. Observe. When you see people who have no control over their bodies, it's best to observe, not to judge. If you are one of the blessed people who have a mind and body that you can learn to have control over your body, that's doing something. One more. So, obsessive thoughts. Remember what I was telling you before? Bad thoughts become good thoughts. Good thoughts become no thoughts. Obsessive thoughts, well, they're not even bad. They're going at such a high rate of speed that it's dizzying, and it can really hurt your body. It can really hurt the quality of your mind. It can hurt the quality of your job, of your relationships. It makes people pace, makes people breathe in ways that they wouldn't normally breathe, hardly at all, or gulping air. So, with obsessive thoughts, we have to learn to help ourselves to breathe slowly. You know my magical formula. Practice long and slow breaths. Every day, if you can remember to practice breathing long and slow, you will get stronger. Your thoughts will become slower. And you have to get over that prejudice about the word slow, because there's a time and place for slowing down. Like I told you, you can't park the car going 90 miles an hour. Mm-mm. You have to slow down. Red light, stop sign, parking space. Slow it down. Slow it down. Slow it down. Wait at the red light. Go do your whatever you need to do in your parking space. Come back. Proceed again, but with more consciousness. Keep practicing, practicing, practicing. Never give up. That's what we came here to do. If it were only to be rich and famous, then only a few of us would ever be successful. Life is much deeper than that. And I'm not saying anything against being rich and famous. Not at all. All I'm saying is there's no guarantee of the peace and happiness that you will get with learning how to breathe, learning how to pace your thoughts, learning how to go deeper into having faith in you more than anyone else. If you like this word God, or you like cosmic consciousness, or the divine, or the beloved, whatever you want to call the higher mind, it lives in each of us. It lives in each of us. And as you become more aware of that divine principle within yourself, you recognize it in people who don't even know that they have it. You know it's there, you can see it. And it makes you realize that you too have been in a place where you didn't recognize it, and how it made you feel, how lost that you felt, how angry you were always prone to that. Your spiritual immune system was weakened. It'll make you be kinder to that person, because they're not going to want to necessarily be kind to you, but you can be kind to them from afar. Seriously, the practice of kindness also helps with obsessive thoughts. It takes practice. There's no other way. You're never going to hear from me, here's your magic pill. Mm-mm. No, you have to take care of your mind every single day. Every single day. If you don't brush your teeth every day, you know what will happen. If you don't take care of your mind, it's time that you became aware of what might happen. You'll lose your balance. You'll lose your peace. You'll be tight. Your body will be tight. Your mind will be tight. Your words will be tight. Everything will be like this. Takes a lot of energy, and you could be having fun. You could be doing something that's a lot more loving and a lot more peaceful. So this part about meditation is to practice meditation throughout the day. Taking the time to remember to breathe. Taking the time to practice gratitude. If you see somebody flying off the handle and you send them peace, make sure that you also say, thank you for making me aware of what that looks like and how that feels. We can do this together, totally as individuals. So I just want to remind you that our word is integrity. Kindly meditate on integrity. Breathe it in, breathe it out, and do it again. Breathe it out. And one more time, breathe in integrity really deeply, and breathe it out. And everywhere you go today, breathe in integrity and breathe it back out into the space so that you know you have contributed that to the atmosphere, right? We're like spiritual ninjas. We're out there putting peace into the air for everyone to breathe, right? I appreciate you staying and coming together in friendship and peace. And I look forward to seeing you next month. So let's have 3 more ohms. Oh. 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 And may all that we have done today go out and to help to alleviate the suffering of all sentient beings. Peace, peace, peace. Namaste.